Hey, what's up? Welcome back. In this version of the application that we're building, we're going to do sorting. So you can see we have a list of presidents, and we're going to add this menu to our application that allows us to sort alphabetically, forward and reverse, and then the ascending, descending refers to the date. All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to add a menu to my main activity here. So how do you put a menu on here? Well, we go into the resources and let's do a right click and choose new, and we are going to create a resource directory. So it doesn't come with a menu resource directory to start with by default. So the type we're looking for is menu, and the directory name is also just fine to be called menu. So let's just click OK. Now we've got the menu choice down here. Let's do a right click on the menu now and choose a new resource file, a menu resource file. And here it is. Let's call it sort menu. And I can't use capital letters. Let's try sort menu. And let's click OK. So here's the menu that we're going for. We're trying to do A to Z, Z to A, ascending and descending. So 4 menu items that we're going to add here right now. So to put a menu item here, let's just do a menu item and drag it down to about there. And it says menu item. Okay, well, let's give it a name. So the title, let's call this thing A to Z. And let's give it an ID. So I'm going to call it menu underscore A to Z. Let's see, how's that for a name? Let's drag in another one and do the rest of them. Okay, so I'm going to drag in all 3 of the menu items and give them 2 things. First of all, give them a text, a title, and then also an ID. So for the ID, I'm going to use the word menu as a prefix, underscore, and then a description. Okay, so this creates the menu items. So you could add icons and things up on the top, but for right now, we're just going to keep it simple. Now let's go into our code and see if we can make this actually happen with some clicks. All right, let's get back into our main activity, and we're going to have to set up some things here at the top. So let's create a resource called menu, and let's just name him menu. And let's go ahead and Alt-Enter to import that. So now we need to create some events that assign values to those the menus. How do we do that? Well, we've got some events like onCreate that are already defined for us. Are there any other events that an activity can do? Well, you bet there are. Let's go up to the word app activity here, app activity compat, and I'm going to press Control O for override. And look at all that stuff. These are all the activity methods that we can override. So I'm looking through the list, and what I'm looking for is onOptionsItem. And so if I can spell it right, we'll get to there. So there is onOptionsItemSelected. So I'll double click that. And I've got a new override event here in my actions. I'm going to need another action here, so let's go back up to App Compat and press Control O. And this time I'm looking for Create Options Menu. So there it is, on Options, Create Options Menu. Okay, so these 2 down here are going to work with my menu. So what we're looking for is called a menu inflator. Okay, the inflator, we're going to get it from the menu inflator. Then the next thing is we're going to assign all of the items in the layout to the class that it defined at the beginning called menu. All right, so this thing here, we could return it. I think we can just put in the word true, so it's always true. Now, what are we going to do to actually make those click items happen? That's what the second thing comes from. So when we get items selected, that's like a click event. So now that we have our menu object here full of 4 items, we can decide what we're going to do when we click on each of those. So what I'm looking for are a switch statement. The switch statement is used because there are 4 different choices. We could use if statements, but switch is the right thing to do here because we don't want 4 ifs in a row. So I got switch item, and it says you can't really use that. So what I want is the item ID. So in the layout, there is some long integer value that is associated with each menu item. Now, if I hit any one of those 4, then I can do an action. So let's say the person selects the first menu item. So that's going to be case. Case of what? Well, if the selected ID matches r.id.menu A to Z, those two numbers will match. If that's true, then we want to be able to sort. So we don't have a sort routine yet. So I'm just going to put in a comment that says sort from A to Z. We need to have a return statement, so I'll put in return true. Just to test things out, I'm going to do a sort, and we're going to put in sort from A to Z as my text. And let's see if that works. Now I'm going to put in the case statements for the other four. All right, so I'm going to put in the other three, I guess we'll call them, three cases. So case number 2 is if we choose menu Z to A. So Z to A is, reverse alphabetized. And so I'm going to put in the toast message, this is Z to A. And then for the date, we'll do date ascending, and we'll put the text message that corresponds with it, and then the same thing for date descending. So when we're all done, we should have 4 different cases that we could handle using the menu click. And so let's test it out. These are not actually going to sort the list yet, but it's going to give us a toast message to tell us that it's going to sort them. All right, we got the app up and running again. And this time, if you notice carefully, there's a menu. So let's choose the menu and let's select one of them. Let's try the first, A to Z. Now I'm expecting a toast, so watch the bottom of the screen. And bang, it doesn't work. Oh, great. Let's go check out the logcat and see what caused the problem. So is there an issue? So it says here, Java line 89. And what is line 89? So 89, I'm predicting, is going to be something with a toast. So my application, why did it use that? Let's try this. Let's do get application context instead. And I think that will probably be better. I think we could also just put in main activity.this. Yeah, that should work. So there's multiple ways to get your context, and this one here will probably be the one that I use most commonly. Sorry about that. Okay, let's see what happens here. I'm going to run the menu and watch for the bottom. Let's try A to Z, and sure enough, it says sort A to Z. And I would bet you that if I choose another one, we're going to get something like sort ascending by date. Perfect. Okay, now we need to go and actually perform the sort, which is going to require some Java skills. So come back and let's do the sorting and implement them in our class.